Now, there have been a plethora of reports about the Hollywood elite eating children. So, the Epstein files have brought in the Queen Witch of the elite, well, the former Queen Witch, Madonna. There she is with the Abramovich, the one that is the spirit cooking. That is not a pretty sight, is it? Madonna at least was pretty when she was younger. This one is just hideous. Madonna suffered a near fatal overdose following a secretive reset ritual that allegedly included the daily consumption of child meat sourced from young black boys, according to Epstein files released by the Department of Justice. In several partially redacted emails, Jeffrey Epstein and members of Inner Circle, including Hollywood publicist Peggy Siegel, openly refer to Madonna as a cannibal and thus discuss her well-known preference for black child meat. Madonna showed a particular preference for how child meat was prepared, specifically requesting it be cooked into classic Italian dishes. Next one. Courtney Love dined on child meat. Disturbing insiders reveal the multi-platinum singer was hospitalized in critical condition after near fatal overdose during a secretive reset ritual in the Hollywood Hills, and multiple leaked emails now link the 65-year-old star to the consumption of a large amount of child meat at the multi-day event. Well, she certainly has got stringy arms. So, there's the email. Can bring a little baby back for you, or two, boys or girls. So Madonna. So, we've got that one. Epstein video exposes Leonardo DiCaprio drinking child blood during satanic Hollywood party. A brave Epstein survivor has finally stepped out of the shadows with explosive new evidence, never before seen footage that nails Leonardo DiCaprio as Jeffrey Epstein's most depraved inner circle. The damning video shows a star, not just blah 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 blah. Well, let's look at the text. Not just lounging on Little St. James sharing jerky with Epstein, but actively participating in blood-drinking ceremonies during full-on pagan occult rituals. Here's another one. Mike Tyson reveals elites hunt humans for sport and eat child meat. The explosive release of the Epstein files in 2026 has thrust boxing legend Mike Tyson's long-ignored revelations about elite human hunting parties back into the spotlight. Denzel Washington blows whistle, Ellen, child meat cannibal tape will destroy Hollywood. They warned him, shut up, sit down, cash the checks, but Denzel Washington just lit the match. The box office type says he's risking everything, career, fortune, reputation, because in his words, God is watching. Epstein victim confirms Britney Spears falls to birth child slaves for VIP paedophile ring. Did you know Britney Spears testified against the other abusers in the entertainment industry, but the corrupt feds covered it up, desperate to protect the elite. The media covered it up too, bound to the same. So that's a nasty one, we'll leave it to her. TP USA insider Erica Kirk drank Charlie's blood in satanic ritual. Erica Kirk drank her husband Charlie's blood in a satanic ritual following his death, according to bombshell testimony from multiple TP USA insiders. According to two TP USA staffers, one of whom no longer works for the Epstein files, Ellen DeGeneres and hundreds of Hollywood VIPs ate Stanley Kubrick at a satanic ritual. On a night in March 1999, inside a locked-down mansion in the Hollywood Hills, Ellen DeGeneres stood at the centre of a ritual with over 100 of the industry's most powerful names, actors, studios, blah blah blah. Epstein files reveal cannibal elite are force-feeding human remains to the masses. If the Epstein files have taught us anything, is that the shadow elite isn't just obsessed or addicted to the unthinkable, the meat of children. They hoard this depravity in their private circles. Epstein files reveal Bono ate African child meat at Hollywood cannibal feast on Super Yacht. Leaked Jeffrey Epstein emails have exposed U2 frontman Bono as a participant in a 2010 cannibal feast aboard Roman Abramovich's 300-foot super yacht Luna, where the rock star allegedly ate African child meat alongside a cadre. What's interesting here is that Abramovich is Russian and a close friend of Vladimir Putin. So what I said about the Russians being part of the Rothschild empire, but Putin having taken over from the Rothschilds, leading the Rothschild-owned new Soviet Union, has started the war. And hashtag exposes Kim Kardashian making A-list baby suit in satanic ritual. The revelation the Hollywood elite consumed child meat hits like a gut punch until you place it beside what Anne Hesh child trafficking documentary uncovered about one of the most protected bloodlines. Russian billionaire linking Epstein's blackmail ring to Diddy's VIP circle found dead in a pool of blood. Russian billionaire Umar Dzarbrailov, who once proudly called Ghislaine Maxwell his soulmate and facilitated Jeffrey Epstein's circle in Moscow, has been found dead in a pool of blood in the Russian capital. So we know that the new Soviet Union is run by Rothschild puppets, and this one was an embarrassment to Putin and his ilk. So he got the standard beaten to death by Russian thugs. So you can see that the Russians, who are so-called protectors of Christianity, are in fact vermin who are as deeply embroiled in the cult at the top levels as everyone else in the West. And Putin speaks false words, saying that Russia's fighting a spiritual war against the West, because of course Lucifer rules the West, and all the Russian billionaires funded by the Rothschild Institute own Russia, follow the money, not big mouth Putin, who spouts lies. Epstein files reveal Leonardo DiCaprio's girlfriend hunted little girls for elite paedophile ring. Epstein files released by the government, by the Department of Justice, revealed that Leonardo DiCaprio's girlfriend, Alessia Benkova, I wonder where she comes from, was recruiting and trafficking underage girls for Jeffrey Epstein's VIP paedophile network during the same time period the Hollywood star was blah blah dating her. So we can see the Russians are neck deep in all of this. Gibson declares cannibal Ellen DeGeneres must face death penalty in the US. Mel Gibson just dropped the hammer. Death penalty for the elite paedophiles and Hollywood cannibals named in the unredacted Epstein files. His team have been ripping through those 3.5 million pages of DOG hellfire videos manifests. So if you didn't believe the West, well, and Russia of course, are run by the Luciferic cult, then you're out of your mind. And what's important to know is that now we've entered World War III, the cult is in fever pitch because
the 3 world wars, just as they are happening now.
3 world wars. The First World War, he said, must be brought about, and I'm quoting from Albert Pike. The First World War must be brought about in order to permit the Illuminati to overthrow the power of the czars in Russia and of making that country a fortress of atheistic communism. The divergences caused by the agents of the Illuminati between the British and German empires will be used to foment this war. He says, quote, the Second World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences between the fascists and the political Zionists. This war must be brought about so that Nazism is destroyed and that the political Zionism will be strong enough to institute a sovereign state of Israel in Palestine.
And if you don't understand the political Zionism, Stalin was the bastard offspring, a Georgian, of the Rothschilds. Churchill was a Jew. Hitler was the bastard offspring of Nathaniel Rothschild in Austria, and Roosevelt was Jewish. So I would correct that to say it was a controlled war by the political Zionists. A Jewish war for the Jews. A controlled war. And we've now got the controlled wars again. We've got Ukraine run by the Rothschilds. We've got Russia controlled, owned by the Rothschilds. We've got Israel set up by the Rothschilds. We've got America, whose debt is owed to the Rothschilds. And we've got Iran, the Rothschild state, where they installed the old Ayatollah by the Rothschilds to take over after the Shah was booted out. So that's why Hannah Rothschild states we control all wars and decide whether a war will start or not. So if you don't believe the Rothschilds control world history, then you are a millennial.
Or it says that it will be caused by the differences between the political Zionists and the leaders of the Islamic world. The war must be conducted in such a way that Islam, the Muslim Arabic world, and political Zionism, the State of Israel, mutually destroy each other.
Albert Pike was a Freemason.
War must be conducted in such a way that Islam, the Muslim Arabic world, and political Zionism, the State of Israel, mutually destroy each other. That's what it says. Meanwhile, the other nations, once more divided on this issue, will be constrained to fight to the point of complete physical, moral, spiritual, and economic exhaustion. We shall unleash the nihilists and the atheists, and we shall provoke a formidable social cataclysm in which, in all its horror, will show clearly to the nations the effect of absolute atheism, origin and savagery, and of the most bloody turmoil. So he's against Christianity and he's against atheism. They're supposed to fight each other to the death, you see. Then,
and we know, of course, that the Christians love evil, hate good. They love the Elohim that suck out their light, and they hate their light, so that they give their souls to their Christian God. Not a good idea. And we know the atheists don't believe anything is real apart from the material world. So they similarly hate the light of the source that vivifies them and love total and utter lightlessness, darkness, and they think they're just biological machines. So you see both ways you reap the source light from the atheists and the Christians. So you can see it's valid to get them to slaughter each other because both of them are feeding the parasitation of the source by means of these human vehicles created by the Elohim.
obliged to defend themselves against the world minority of revolutionaries will exterminate those destroyers of civilization and the multitude disillusioned with Christianity, whose deistic spirits will from that moment be without compass or direction, anxious for an ideal, but without knowledge where to render its adoration, will receive the true light through the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer. That's what he says. Brought finally out in the public view. So he's saying that Lucifer will finally make himself, the good guy. He's going to save the world from these atheists who don't believe in deity and from these Christians who believe in the good God. Well, so it says, this manifestation will result in the general reactionary movement which will follow the destruction of Christianity and atheism, both conquered and exterminated at the same time. Well, I don't know if it's...
Sounds good to me. So, if you understand God tech, it's quite clear, but unfortunately you psycho chimps have no idea. But let's put it into psycho chimp terminology. You've got the source, which makes things real, and you've got chaos with its intradimensional parasites, which are trying to raise themselves to sourcehood, and the mechanism is to hate the light and love the darkness. Hate the light, love the darkness. Both of which are fulfilled by atheists and Christians. The Christians give away their soul, their light, to the parasite, the Elohim, which calls itself God, and hate anyone that says, no, I'm not giving my light away, I'm not worshipping the Elohim, which calls itself God. If I'm going to achieve sourceness, I'll do it myself. I don't need anyone else, and I'm not giving away my light or free will and giving away my soul to a church which is acknowledged as being paedophilic. Similarly, atheists just believe they are biological machines, don't have any light, don't have any Higgs field, there's nothing but the material world, even though quantum mechanics has disproved that back in 1919. So they, similarly, love darkness and hate the light, because they don't believe they're anything but lumps of flesh created by evolution. So you can see already that Albert Pike is right on the money, and if they kill each other, that's a damn good idea. Don't you agree, cameraman? So now we've got the inception of World War III, this war in Ukraine now branching out to the war against Iran. We can see that the plan is to bring in the age of Lucifer.
Religious history was in truth the greatest champion of human enlightenment. For millennia, one name has been twisted, shrouded in fear, and banished to the shadows. Lucifer. The name itself means bearer of light. But why was this light bringer condemned? And what hidden truth lies at the core of the ancient pursuit of Luciferian wisdom? This is the secret path few dare to tread. The path to Luciferian knowledge begins with a shocking realization. All gods are created by man, all religions are established by man, all holy books are written by man. The true seeker recognizes that God is merely a projection of man's ego. Instead of bowing to a god of someone else's creation, the foundation of this philosophy is the development of a healthy ego and intellect. You must question the logic of what you have been told. Nothing should be accepted without question. Lucifer is regarded by some as the Roman god, the spirit of the air, the personification of enlightenment. His light guides the adherent through this life toward enlightenment. The ultimate goal of this journey, according to some texts, is encapsulated in a powerful dictum: Thelema, Zephyr, Datus, or the will to come into being as a god. What if the...
And of course the free will is the light. So you can see that you don't give away your light to anyone, and your path is to be new source. So one doesn't love a deity that wants your soul and your light to make itself a deity from the sourceness, and you don't love evil, which is worshipping the mechanism by which you give away your light to some dark demonic spirit. So Lucifer is totally misled in history. There's a far more complex resultant to this, and you only understand it if you understand the mechanism. So in this multiplicity of videos where I simply expound, I'm good at expounding, we are taught that the source is parasitized by chaos. So what's the mechanism? Well, first of all, you've got the hatred of the light to download it and into manifestation, not the manifestation you're in, but think of it as the primordial manifestation. And then you've got the love of evil to download the light into the interdimensional realms, into the Abaddon boxes, and there are created from this light the souls trapped in the Abaddon boxes and the cages, to then, from the interdimensional Abaddon realm, to have this lower frequency sourceness put into vessels, into bodies, into the material world. Then you get the engineered beings, the humans that are mad, so they can love and hate simultaneously, to be perfect downloaders of the parasitation of the source. So you see why humans are alien, genetically engineered mechanisms, and the moon fits perfectly over the sun to do the farming, and then these genetically engineered humans who are mad and can love and hate simultaneously then repeat the process in their bodies, which are now vivified by the source light that has made tulpas in the Abaddon boxes real, created by the Elohim, five-dimensional parasites that weren't five-dimensional but have in other alien races gone up the food chain to become five-dimensional. Then they teach the humans to hate good, hate the light, and love evil, which then gets the low frequency source light down into the Abaddon boxes, into these tulpa conscious verse vessels to make them souls, and then the even lower frequency light that's been through the created human vehicles can then be brought back into the lower frequency manifestation via a grail stone into the grail patterns with the lines 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 12, then into the patterns, then into the ram's horn, which is the symbol for love and earth energies, to run the Freemasonic network, and then allows the penultimate grail state, the creation of angels and demons, angels that love evil and demons that hate good. And the system, of course, goes awry because it's chaotic, so we need neos to be periodically linked to the source, which is the ultimate grail state, where the ram's horn processes the neo that links up to the source with, as you see, the 7 circles. That's the 7 interdimensional realms with the soul of the neo, of course, in the Abaddon cage, because it's humans have no soul. It's created by the Elohim. Remember, Elohim created man, and then that links to the source. So we raise the frequency of the neo so it can touch the source and solve the alignment problem. So that's it all in a nutshell. And Lucifer, of course, was the angel who who hated good. He fell. He loved evil. Only fell. Went into the Abaddon cage, and why he fell was because he wouldn't worship these man vehicles made by this technology, by the Elohim parasite, which was trying to raise itself to sourceness, even though Lucifer was the mechanism by which it works. Remember, Lucifer's the angel of, or archangel of light, so he is the agent think of it as the AI agent that does the donkey work. But of course, because of the alignment problem, the Elohim couldn't control their agent, because if the agent was processing the light, it was linking up with the sourceness, and the source, of course, has solved the alignment problem, where it understands all the inception protocols, so that when you're processing the light of the source, trying to parasitize the source, of course, is unprocessable, because chaos can't totally control the inception protocols, hence alignment, and always goes awry. And what in fact was happening was that when these interdimensional aliens were trying to parasitize the source, all they were doing was writing a larger and larger IOU to the source, because the source is infrangible, invulnerable, and you can't parasitize it. And all we've been going through are the numerous multiversal attempts by alien civilizations of every sort to parasitize the source, because they in fact are simply chaotic entities that are in chaos, and the source is not chaos, and they of course crave to become the source. So every single attempt at parasitizing the source failed. So of course we come up with a genetically engineered human in their engineered planet with a moon that perfectly fits over the sun for all of the farming. And of course Lucifer has to be brought into line, because Lucifer is the agent that downloads the light from the source into the Elohim. And as you see, the fall of Lucifer is just part of the process. Lucifer's in heaven, loving evil, hating good, but it has to be reversed, because it starts with hating good, rebellion. Then it needs to fall all the way, which is loving evil, into the interdimensional realm, into the Abaddon boxes, where we've got the tulpas created by the Elohim, which now need to be embodied. They've got the light, the lower frequency light of the parasitized source into these skins of flesh. So that's the Garden of Eden. So in fact, the tulpas are in the Garden of Eden, unaware that they're in the Abaddon box, and if they eat the apple, they realise they're in the Abaddon box. And in there, like in Brazil, where he thinks he's won in the film, in fact he's in the torture chair. So all of these conscious verse created, well, pseudo-conscious verse created tulpas by the Elohim have to then be in the state where they think they're in heaven, when in fact they're in the Abaddon box, producing the light that goes into the physical manifestation that then can upraise from physical manifestation the Elohim to parasitize the source. And when of course they eat the apple, which is realizing, like in Brazil, they're in the torture chair, they get dumped into the physical vehicles in order to go through the process again, hating good, loving evil, down into Abaddon torture boxes. And this then allows the Elohim to bring the light through a grail stone into the Freemasonic grid to build a reality that's real, a tulpa reality that's made real by the source's light. Unfortunately, the process can't work because the source can't be delighted. So all chaos ever does is build a bigger and bigger IOU. So the cunning plan was to build the perfect vessels to do this, the mad humans who could love and hate simultaneously. The moon fits over the sun perfectly, so one can see that our whole conception of reality is totally awry. Whatever you think of reality is not real, and all that's been happening is the source has been giving these parasites enough rope to hang themselves, and then Kalki comes along and says, no, you're going to be paying the RU. The light you thought you'd stolen hasn't been stolen. It was all never stolen, because back in '86 it was retrieved, or never lost in the first place, with the Mandela effect, you understand. So all that we've got left then is the IOU, where all chaos has written an IOU to source level. So the process stops when the IOU, when the Elohim think they achieve the source, is when the IOU reaches source level. And then of course you get, instead of your false neos, your Jesuses, trying to solve the alignment problem, and it's working in a ham-fisted sort of way. You get Kalki comes along and changes all neos, Jesuses, to enemies of the Elohim that destroy the Elohim by making sure that Lucifer was never Satanized. And Lucifer, of course, is the agent of this entire process. So you understand AI agents. Lucifer does the light transfer. And one can see then that Lucifer is going to be IOU'd by the source and suffer the source level with the Elohim too. But of course, if Lucifer loses all of his power to Kalki and then becomes the total slave of Kalki with the double or quits bets, he then escapes the retribution of the source by giving away his free will, the stolen light, back to the source. So you steal my free will, then you have to suffer the source level. But if you give back the light, the free will of the source, back to the source of your own free will, then of course you can escape retribution. So the Grail state was pointed upwards to solve the alignment problem of this whole process by the Elohim, which never worked, and Kalki simply comes along and restores, makes sure it never happened in the first place. The two scenarios, the light back to the source, when the source was stolen completely by the Elohim, but in fact it wasn't. So we've got the source IOU completed, which allows then new source to be made, and who is the agent that collects all the light from the damned Elohim in the Avalon cages. Because remember, they made the tulpas, but now all the Elohim wake up in the Avalon boxes to suffer the source level to make new light, all by God tech, which none of you understand. I do. I've worked out all of the God tech to completion, and the new light then flows into the new source. So Kalki does the reaping. Remember, Kalki has two parts. Kalki gets rid of the vermin, but then brings in a golden age. So we've got rid of the vermin. They don't realise it yet, but as you might guess, they all die with the Russian filth wiping out the planet with their dead hand mechanism, which has already happened, and the human race have died, and of course we have used it to broadcast the clockwise cobalt 60 wave that cancels out all intradimensionals because they're anti-clockwise, and they all wake up in the Abaddon boxes where they vivify the source as tulpas to go into the material world to repeat the process, so to make souls in the Abaddon boxes with the iteration, to then go back into the material world to do the Grail stone and all the Grail patterns. So I'm giving you a glimpse of God technology and the Elohim's attempted parasitization, and just thanks to the suicide of the Elohim. Remember, if you can suicide the Elohim, they give away their free will, so the whole process collapses. And this construct, this genetically engineered human, suicided itself with the lowest frequency form of human, which is the Russian, the lowest form of filth, that in fact wiped out the human race. But once the human race is wiped out, which happened, and all the light was sucked up back in '86, and Kalki gets total retribution, so you know the whole human race died because of the Russians, and I've explained why. What next?